Well, it's the fifth week of LCS with coverage brought to you by Alienware. I'm talking to Blaber here on the first day of the weekend about how things are going over at Cloud9 after, I mean, do you feel like that was a stomp against FlyQuest? It felt pretty quick.
Yeah, that was a pretty boring game in my opinion. I didn't feel like, I think Perks had some fun and some ints, but I think everyone else kind of just stomped over the
Yeah.
game.
Were you guys aware of the Zir bug? Has anybody talked about that since then?
Yeah, so actually we said it in game. Perks was like, "Oh, I guess I'm really lucky my Q canceled the ult."
Yeah.
But it's not like something that we're gonna go in depth in game, right? Um, if obviously we're not gonna pause for it, so
Right.
if they were to pause for it, that'd be different. But I think we ended up like getting a kill on Hecarim afterwards because of it, but uh, that's not really something that we've talked about.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I just brought it up because it's like, obviously people talk about it on social media. So I'm
Yeah,
like, I don't, sometimes it's hard to tell if like everyone in the game even notices these things sometimes, you know what I mean? So,
yeah,
all right. Well, regardless, let's talk a little bit about Cloud9. I obviously not as ridiculously dominant as last year's spring split, but it does seem like the team is fairly ahead of the pack. Is that the way it feels to you? I mean, obviously the score shows that, but does it feel like you guys are just way better than the other teams?
yeah. Honestly, for me right now, I feel like it's not very close between us and any other team. We haven't played TL in a while, but I really don't think any other team individually can challenge us besides Team Liquid. And I think like a lot of the advantages over us at the beginning was team play. Like I think teams like 100 Thieves, um, were really good in the beginning because they play really well as a team, but I think like individually they're not as strong. And once teams like us, right, catch up to them, it's gonna be a lot harder for them to win.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw the 100 Thieves game earlier before yours, but it does feel like that team is kind of falling a little bit. I don't know if do you think it's just that everybody else is kind of catching up to them or surpassing them?
I don't really have a specific like reason for why they're playing worse. Honestly, I think the entire split they've been playing bad, like just honestly, and the games they're winning, they should not be winning. Um,
Because it's a
I,
classic. It was a fluke.
yeah,
They're
I mean,
fluking these wins.
I just don't understand how, or not don't understand, but like they should be very happy that they're 8-5 right now with the way that they've been playing. Um, so I think maybe they're getting worse, maybe other teams are catching up, but they haven't seemed great all split, regardless of their scoreline.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about Cloud9 again. Do you think there's that any team will catch up to you? I mean, because that's what's kind of crazy is that we're only in week 5, but also next week is the last week before playoffs. So it's like I don't know if you guys are like, we got this in the bag.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, I think Team Liquid is probably our biggest competitor. Um, I think they've actually had really good early games. They just have trouble closing out games in almost all their games, and obviously the reason for that is they have really strong laners, right, and a strong jungler. So I think they've had a hard time closing out games, and a lot of times they just throw. Um, I think if they play well, then they'll be a tough opponent for us, uh, and maybe TSM in the future as well. But as of now, I don't think, like as of right now, I don't think any team is as good as us. So we'll have to see as playoffs come around.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about TSM because this week we did an episode of Run It where Tim ranked like the 5 teams behind you on like who he thought could take you guys down.
Hmm.
He put TL number 2, but he put TSM as the most likely candidate for taking you down. I think just based off of like their play style and all that. People can watch the clip. But what what makes you feel so confident against them?
Um, I just don't feel like they're as good. Um, in general, I think they're very easy to draft against as well. They're very one-dimensional in how they play. You know PoE is going to pick a control mage or like Lucian, for example, um, and it's like very easy to draft around. It also limits like Spica's champ pool as well because his mid laner will only play AP champs. So like picking like Syndra Lilia, for example, is a lot weaker than picking like Lilia Tristana, for example, something like that. Um, I also just think they're weaker in their solo lanes, or not their solo lanes, top and bot, than teams like TL. So I think they would have to make up for it in team play, which I don't think they're doing insanely well right now. But I do think they're decently good.
Well, so obviously it sounds like you feel pretty confident on the team side. How about on the MVP side? Because obviously you've picked up MVP before. People have talked about this. Your name I feel like has been mentioned a lot. So I'm kind of curious. Do you think that you're the leading candidate for it?
Um, I mean, that's not really something I think about. Um, but I think that I'm a lot better than everyone else in my role right now. That's to me, it's just how I feel when I'm playing scrims, and it's not something that I felt really before. I feel like in spring, even when I got MVP, I didn't feel like I myself was that much better than everyone else. I felt like us as a team were just so much better than the rest of the league. But right now, I feel very confident in my play, and I think I'm playing very well compared to everyone else. So I don't really think about getting MVP because that's not just about my own role, but obviously it'd be cool to get it again, right?
I think you were kind of asked this on broadcast earlier, but uh, what do you think it is that is making it so that you just seem to have this lead over the other junglers? Are you doing something? You eating Wheaties? Like what is the secret Blabber technique that's keeping you so ahead of everyone?
Um, I'm not sure, honestly. I think it's pretty easy to play with my teammates as well. I think playing with Perks and Vulcan as a mid support is very important for a jungler, and it's very easy for me to play with them. And also, Fudge, for example, is very good at playing for jungle. He really understands when I need to farm and when are my timings. So I think in general, my team plays around me very well. But I also just think that the junglers in NA are not playing very well, or just in general. Like, I don't think I'm doing anything extremely special. I think I've been playing well, right? But I just feel like they're not playing that well.
Very good. Speaking of ranking players, today they did a ranking of all the top laners.
Yeah.
You
So,
started laughing as soon as did you think I was going to ask this question?
no, I mean, but it's just funny to me because we were just memeing it after we saw it, like us as a team.
Yeah. Okay. So Freak placed Fudge second, and quite frankly, it's funny because you guys were probably memeing like Emily and Alorum putting him at ninth and eighth.
Yeah.
But I'll have my editor throw this up. But like people, for the most part, seem to be shitting on Freak for pinning him second. So I'm now going to create a new segment called On the Spot. For this interview, I may never do it ever again, but I'm putting you on the spot.
Okay.
Maybe you can help defend Fudge in his second place ranking on Freak's thing. Why should people not be surprised to see him there?
Well, I think if you actually have Fudge at ninth or 10th, then you're not actually watching the games. Um,
To be clear, nobody has him 10th. They have him
okay.
8th or ninth.
Okay.
What if they
Sorry.
have him
Sorry.
8th? Are they
Sorry.
still watching the games if they have him 8th?
I just think it's fair to say Alfari is the best top laner in the league. I think that is something that a lot of people can agree on. But I think a lot of people credit Fudge's success to my gank's top lane. But Fudge, like on his Gragas games where I'm not impacting top, he's getting not advantages himself, but that's not what Gragas does, right? He team fights extremely well on these tanks. He plays weak side very well, and he's able to carry on strong side. And that's not something that everyone can do. Like, it sounds like really stupid, right? But not everyone can utilize resources well. Like, I can gank their lane 4 times and they might still lose the lane, or maybe they'll like not know when to call for jungle pressure. And that's a skill that top laners like should have, and it's something that he's extremely good at, playing weak side and strong side. And I think it's just something people don't understand. Like, they think I'm just ganking his lane so he's looking good, and that's just not how League of Legends works.
Very good. You've passed the on the spot segment, Blabber. I don't know if I'll ever do this again. But I'm glad we were able to talk about it. You said you were all memeing it. Maybe you can tell me what was the memeing? Were you guys all trolling him afterwards or something, or what happened?
No, we just thought it was really stupid that they put him 8th or ninth. Like, not sure what they were smoking, honestly.
Very good. Well, hey, I'm glad the broadcast is sparking conversation. Normally they're a little quiet on that front. Blabber, anything you want to say to any of your fans out there?
Yeah. Thanks for supporting us. We weren't able to make MSI last year because there was no MSI, but we're really preparing hard so that we can make MSI this year and be able to play internationally.
Are you worried about the volcano?
I haven't thought about it, but my manager brought it up to me, and I was like, well, this is like a month from now, so hopefully it doesn't erupt then.
Yeah, very good. Anyway, Blabber, thank you so much. Always a pleasure to talk to you. Looking forward to seeing how you and your team do over the next couple of weeks. And for everyone else, you can check out the rest of my coverage of all things LCS right here on my YouTube channel. I've seen a lot of people comment on the length of my hair and beard recently. I think I've even done an outro about it previously. I just want to say I appreciate all the kind words. And if you would like to support the continued growth of this hair, I can tell you that you supporting Alienware by checking out their stuff by going to alienware.com/Travis, link in the description. Travis10 off is the code that you can use to save 10% off your order. That my hair will continue to grow. And we'll just see how much like a marooned individual I end up becoming. So good, I guess do that if you want. I mean, if you don't, then I would still like it if you appreciated what Alienware does for me and check them out.